Now for business updates across the globe, Rotus Odiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, everybody. Good to be here. Thank Zeus, it's Friday. All right, quickly, oil. I think we're starting with oil. Oil prices at a new high, not seen since early 2022. $85.28 a barrel for Brent crude. This is as at about 6 a.m. this morning. West Texas Intermediate, that's North American grade, $81.74. One of the factors, Saudi Arabia has cut, or rather extended, its oil production cut. So the Saudi press agency announced that this information coming from the government, these voluntary cuts are going to be extended until September, and they could be extended further. So essentially with these cuts, it means that oil supplies will be lower, and that is what is pushing prices up. Now, it needs to be said, with oil prices at 85 this morning, Goldman Sachs has said that we would see, I think this was a few days ago, Goldman Sachs said we would see oil prices at $86 a barrel by December. And we're already at 85 and we're in August. So now analysts are saying could be 90, could be 95, could we say 100 by the end of the year? And the implications, of course, Nairametrics had an article yesterday talking to some folks in the downstream sector saying that fuel prices are going to obviously climb as a result of the landing cost of fuel increasing because of what we're seeing with oil. To Asian markets, they were boosted by yet another promise. We keep hearing promises from the Communist Party over in China. And the market keeps responding to these promises. So Shanghai Composite Index in mainland China, the Nikkei 225 in Japan, the Hang Seng Index in Hong Kong, the Kospi in Korea, ASX 200 in Australia, even the MSCI Asian Pacific stocks, that index, all of them were climbing because, but again, we haven't seen the stimulus coming from China. They just keep making these announcements that they're going to support the different sectors and so on and so forth. So the markets, at least to end the week, Asia is climbing. To the, I think we're going to the UK now. We got, as expected, 25 basis point hike to 5.25%, and it was evenly split. I think 6 members of the Monetary Policy Committee voted for a hike, maybe 2 or 1 voted for a pause. I'm saying, yeah, well, there were more of them voted for this actual hike. It was almost unanimous. Only 1 person voted for a pause. 14th hike in a row. Rates now at their highest level since 2008. Now, what is keeping Andrew Bailey up at night? June inflation 7.9%, and look at the Bank of England's inflation target, 2%. Doctor has repeatedly asked, are these inflation targets even realistic? Speaking of inflation, Turkey, oh boy. Turkey, inflation for July, 47.83%. June was 38.2%. The central bank they had to revise their forecast, I think a week ago, saying that inflation will likely reach 58% by the end of the year. So inflation in Turkey, of course, new head of their central bank, they seem to be doing interest rate normalization now. So they're starting to hike, but they've got quite a ways to go. I think their benchmark rate is at 17% or so. So they got quite a ways to go. So that's all the inflation discussion over in Turkey. I think we go to the United States now. And the big tech companies, Apple disappointed markets. Markets were expecting, let's see, iPhone revenue disappointed, 39.6 billion. Markets were expecting almost 40 billion. Services revenue did well. They said that now about 1 billion people are paying monthly for Apple services, Apple Pay, Apple TV, iTunes, and so on and so forth. Their Mac revenue, that overperformed estimates. iPad revenue continues to drop. Total revenue, 81.8, slightly beating estimates. So Apple shares are down as we speak in aftermarket trading. Amazon did much, much better. Amazon blew away estimates as far as what was expected. 134 billion revenue. Amazon Web Services was accounted for about 70% of their operating income. So cloud services continue to be a driver for Amazon. Advertising revenue is coming. And Amazon is kind of like a bellwether for the US economy because so many people continue to order things from them. So when Amazon's revenue is dipping and profits are dipping, and it means that not as many people are ordering things from them. So this seems to be, but don't forget, there were also a lot of job cuts that they announced. They started early in the year. So it looks like those cuts, as far as reducing their expenses, has now boosted their revenues as well. It's a big day for U.S. jobs. We're going to be expecting the non-farm payrolls for July. The United States has, on average, done about 200,000+ jobs for each of the last 6 months or so. So President Joe Biden is expecting another strong number, but it's starting to slow just a bit. So the estimate is for 200,000 jobs, about 1:30 this afternoon or 2 o'clock, we'll get that figure. The June number was 209,000. Unemployment is not expected to change at 3.6%. And then this is the key metric that the Federal Reserve and Jerome Powell are going to be looking at, your average hourly earnings. That's on a month-on-month figure. If that continues to climb, then because the labor market is strong, that means hiring is still strong, people are still getting jobs, vacancies are still open, and that means that there's still upward pressure on wage inflation. And then I think we come to Africa. I was watching an interview that was the CEO of Ethiopian Airlines granted on Bloomberg, and he was asked about Nigeria Air. And he says they're still pretty committed. I think we have that.
We are establishing the Nigerian Air in partnership with the Nigerian government and institutional investors in Nigeria. And the prime objective is to enable Nigeria have a flag carrier, a national flag carrier of Nigeria. As you know, Nigeria is a big country, big economy, but unfortunately, it doesn't have a strong airline. In this airline, Ethiopian Airlines will have 49% share, but at the same time, it will have a management contract. Effectively, Ethiopian Airlines will manage this aircraft to be successful. We have seen that it is a proven model. Aska Airlines that we set up under joint venture in Togo is today the most successful airline in Africa as a regional airline. So we are very, very eager to see this airline start flying to serve the Nigerian market, connecting the domestic market to the international market.
All right, finally, on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, the governor of Adamawa State, Governor Fintiri, announced I'm pleased to announce the appointment of the following members to constitute my media team. You can see special advisors there are 2 people.
Oh my God.
Then the senior special assistants, there were 10. Okay, if we go to his second tweet, the list was so long, I couldn't even contain it in the screen. So it has to start from. So in total, this was about 35 people that he added. These are social media people. So in total, he has hired 47 people for his media team. And I mean, he openly tweeted it. He listed all the names. So I guess maybe he gets commended for being transparent. But I said, okay, look, why don't we jump? What is Adamawa's economy looking like in terms of what he's going to be taking over? 2021 revenue was just 13 billion naira. Their revenue, their FAC allocation, what they got was 60 billion. Revenue to FAC as a ratio, 17% of your total revenue is only what IGR, 82% is FAC. So you're depending on FAC allocations from the government. Your domestic debt jumped 26% to 124 billion. Your foreign debt as of 2021 was 80.2 million. You look at the other overview as far as the GDP, 2.6 trillion, one of the lowest in the country. Ease of doing business, they didn't improve. They jumped from about 21st place to 11th place in 2023. Your per capita spend on education is one of the lowest in the country at 855 naira per capita for education. And health is just 1,000 naira 87. And then you come to quality of life in Adamawa State. Adamawa State has the second highest unemployment in Nigeria, second only to Imo State, which is at 56%. This is as of 2020, according to the Bureau of Statistics. So, tongue-in-cheek sarcasm, maybe that's the reason why he hired 47 people, because the unemployment is so high there, because that's basically one out of 2. Underemployment is 24%, so if you add that, I mean, you're going into the 80s there. Headline inflation 23.4%, food inflation 23.3%. That is our Africa updates.
I mean, honestly, people like Governor Fintiri should be told the truth. And what's the truth? We can't keep running government like a joke. I don't think it's job creation doing this. I just think this is job for the boys. And we shouldn't build a country like this. If he really wants to give people jobs, he should be able to create jobs in the state, develop sectors, agriculture, where the state has comparative advantage. Let these people go and work there. Not over 47 people just to tweet and thread. And which other one is that? Put Instagram. TikTok. For 47 people. 47. You know, there are some apps that would help you post on multiple accounts.
Yes.
What's that app called?
No, you can share. Yeah, you can
share.
On Instagram, you can share.
So can somebody tell the governor about that app?
So one person can do this
No,
job.
so I think somebody should tell the governor that there are apps that once you post on one platform,
you can share
it
to others.
shares on other platforms.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. So we can't afford to waste, and I think the governor should rethink this. We can't afford to waste money like this and all of that. While you were presenting those international stories and numbers, I was just wondering in my head, if only Apple and Amazon were companies in Nigeria, are we going to be having the problems for Forex we're having today? No, and that's why I keep saying, in the part of the restructuring President Tinubu is going to be doing with the economy, I think part of our revenue stream should also involve how we can develop tech companies and have a holistic plan. I think Nigeria should, even if it's to target, how can we have 3 top tech companies? And that's why I'm happy Bosun Tijani made it to the cabinet, because Bosun did a lot of work with CC Hub. How can we have 3 tech companies? And I've said tech companies not with the Delaware effect, too. Because it is one thing to have a tech company with over 1 billion valuation, but it's a Delaware effect company. And I mean Delaware effect, I mean companies that are pretty much registered in Delaware and all of that. I'm saying homegrown tech companies. Government, many years ago, had something called the Ideas Hub. How can we? Because you see, when you see companies like Apple and the likes declaring big profit, and Tesla, government supported them. I remember how they abused Barack Obama for giving Elon Musk money, to fund companies like Tesla and Cylindrica and some other things like that. And if honestly, in fact, Mitt Romney in the 2012 debate abused President Obama. But today, look at the result of those investments. So government too must invest heavily so that we can start to have these big companies. They will get in this Forex revenue for us. Then we'll be able to balance that. So probably I foresee a place in the future that apart from oil companies and oil majors selling Forex, into the market, probably you will also have tech companies doing the same into the market. These things are possible.
Absolutely. All right, and then that would also take us to the conversation on the ease of doing business, because we would wonder why these tech companies are going to Delaware to register and not register back home in Nigeria. There are a number of companies like that who'd rather register. I mean, for different tax as well is part of that. But again, just creating that ease of doing business environment. But beyond that, to Adamawa, this is Adamawa State, where a week ago, people were so hungry they started looting palliatives warehouses to get food. This is the same Adamawa where the announcement of the governor with regard to his response to petrol subsidy removal, and kudos to him, he set up a steering committee to address this, was the resolution of that steering committee was to give 10,000 naira to civil servants and pensioners for 6 months, and also provide buses and the likes. So you put that side by side with, we're facing an economic crisis currently, not just in the state, but across the nation. And your solution beyond these palliatives you've mentioned is to hire 47 people to act in the same duplicating efforts for new media. I would like to, I don't think the Adamawa State governor has given a response with regards to his justification for these number of people. It would be great to hear what his justification for hiring 47 people to do this. Because if you read their titles, SSA New Media, SSA New, they're not even hiding the fact that they're duplicating efforts. There's no maybe SSA New Media Facebook, SSA New Media TikTok. It's just SSA New Media. So we understand really, perhaps the justification for that. Let's hear from him. Now going to X app. What is going on in Elon Musk's mind? Is he trying to destroy or completely eradicate Jack Dorsey's Twitter app. You know, now you don't say, I want to tweet, I want to X, I'll X you. Because that's the new, I mean, he's changed the logo, he's changed the colors. And now, going back to the conversation around the blue tick and impersonation, in Japan, their currency ambassador, they've had to, currency diplomat, they've had to complain because he was being impersonated. And in true fashion, X didn't respond very quickly, misleading information on a very sensitive department at this time in Japan. And we see that across, even in different parts of the world. I'm really wondering about his business model, particularly for X.
He wants X to be like WeChat in China. He saw his idea, and he incorporated this company years ago, even when he was doing PayPal. So he wants it to be a platform that does everything, payments and so on and so forth. For 2 seconds, I couldn't find my Twitter logo on my phone. It had changed to X, so I was lost. Yeah, but it's he's the owner, so he gets to do what he wants.
Okay, Bank of England yesterday voted to increase base rate by 0.25%. They voted 6-3.
Yeah.
Now, two persons wanted a higher percentage of 0.5. One person recommended a pause. There was unanimous decision that, look, inflation still needs to be reined in. And Andrew Bailey was talking about this 2%, November 2% target, with a clause that, look, inflation is likely to keep going up, and base rates will go up till 2026. What does it mean? Greater hardship for the people. Chancellor Jeremy Hunt was boasting that, our plan is working. Okay, is the plan working? Because the UK at the moment is in a low growth trap. And the people are the ones feeling the brunt of it. Mortgage going up. Cheap food is no longer available with food inflation in double digit rates, 17.9%. Prompting some Tory MPs to say, look, you have to give tax cuts. You have to give support to the people to reduce their hardship. But Jeremy Hunt, of course, has ruled out tax cuts. So this is not the best of times to be looking for grocery in the UK, because the supermarkets have all had to adjust their prices upwards. That's one about that. Now, in the US, you talk about the jobs report coming up later today. Well, perhaps there will be something in it for everybody. The fear is the job cuts slowing down to 200,000, that an indication of slower growth may present the risk of a contraction. But there are other data. Spending, consumer spending is going up. GDP productivity is going up. So it depends on who is looking at it. But when we get the numbers today, we will know exactly what it is all about. Now, finally, Amazon. Well, shouldn't we praise Jassy, the new CEO?
Yeah, we should.
Because this looks like something about management. Job cuts, cost efficiency, improvement on delivery, and all of those measures that he introduced, and the fact that their cloud computing business is doing very well, so he's been able to turn it around. But the question is, yes, the share price of Amazon yesterday ended at about an improvement of about 7%. Year on year, they've made more money, but will he be able to sustain it? But this shows us that, leadership and management will require the leader, the CEO, taking the variables,
take charge,
and producing results. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.